You finally have everything you said you wanted, and some nights, that's exactly the problem. The house, the title on your business card, the number in your account that used to feel impossible and now just feels normal. You worked for this, really worked. The kind of work that costs you something every single day you do it. The kind where you tell yourself it's temporary. It's just this season. It'll ease up soon. And somewhere in the middle of getting it all, something else went quiet. Something you didn't mean to trade away. You just looked up one day and it was gone, and you're still not sure exactly when it left, or if you could even point to the moment, if someone asked you to. Tonight is about that trade, the one nobody warns you about when you're young and hungry and certain that if you just get far enough, everything else will follow naturally, like a reward waiting at the finish line. I want to tell you about a phone call I didn't take. It was a Tuesday. I remember it was a Tuesday because Tuesdays were always the worst. Back to back, no breathing room. The kind of day where you're solving 5 problems before lunch, and somehow it's already 4 p.m., and you haven't eaten, and you can't remember the last time you actually tasted your coffee instead of just drinking it on the way to somewhere else. My phone buzzed. A name I loved flashed on the screen, and I looked at it. I actually looked at it, made the choice in real time, and I let it go to voicemail. Because I was in the middle of something. There was always something. I called back 4 hours later. The moment had passed. It wasn't an emergency, nothing dramatic, just someone who wanted to tell me about their day, in the middle of their day, while it still mattered, while the feeling was fresh and the story was alive in them. By the time I called back, it had already become a memory instead of a moment. I'd missed the actual thing, even though I technically made it up later. They told me anyway, of course, but it was different, secondhand, like reading about something instead of being there for it. That happened more times than I want to count. Not just with one person, with an entire season of my life. I think about a colleague I worked alongside for years. Brilliant, relentless, the kind of person everyone assumed had it figured out. We'd grab coffee sometimes between meetings, and once, almost offhand, she told me she'd started keeping a list. Not a to-do list, a list of things she'd missed. Her son's first steps, because she was on a call. A friend's wedding toast, because she'd flown out for a closing the next morning and couldn't stay the full weekend. She wasn't telling me this for sympathy. She said it like a fact, almost matter of fact, like she'd made peace with it, but her eyes didn't quite match her voice when she said it. Here's the part that took me longer to understand than I'd like to admit. None of those moments felt like a sacrifice when I made them. Each one, individually, felt small, reasonable. Just this once, just this deadline, just this quarter, and then it'll be different. But you don't lose the people and the peace in one dramatic moment. You lose them in 1,000 small Tuesdays, each one defensible on its own. Impossible to regret as a pattern until you're already standing in the empty space it left behind, wondering how you got here when every single step along the way seemed so justified at the time. You built something real. I want to be clear about that, because this isn't about shaming the wanting or pretending ambition is some kind of moral failure. The drive that got you here, the refusal to settle, the willingness to outwork everyone in the room, that's not the villain of this story. It got you somewhere most people only talk about getting to, somewhere most people quietly envy even while they tell you they're proud of you. But maybe you know the specific kind of quiet I'm talking about. The quiet of a big house with nobody really home, even when everyone's technically there. The quiet after a deal closes, when you expected to feel triumphant, and instead just feel tired and a little bit alone in a way success was supposed to fix and somehow didn't, in a way that almost feels embarrassing to admit out loud, because who complains about having too much? Maybe it's not even a person you lost. Maybe it's a version of yourself, the one who used to call your mother just to talk, not to update her. The one who used to take the whole weekend off without checking email 40 times. The one who knew how to be still without it feeling like falling behind, without that low hum of guilt that shows up the second your hands aren't doing something productive. Money was never supposed to be the whole answer. You probably knew that on some level even while you were chasing it. But knowing a thing and feeling it are different, and most of us only feel it after we've already gotten what we were chasing and found the ache was still there, just wearing nicer clothes now, sitting in a nicer room, somehow still asking the same question it always asked. So what do you do with that? Not as a lecture. I don't have a clean 5-step plan for you, and honestly, I'd be suspicious of anyone who claims they do. But here's what I've come to believe, slowly, after my own string of missed Tuesdays, and after watching my colleague's eyes when she talked about her list. The trade you made wasn't permanent. It felt like it, because patterns feel like identity after a while. Like, this is just who you are now. Someone who works. Someone who's always almost present. Almost there. Almost listening. But patterns can be interrupted. Not reversed all at once. Not undone in some grand gesture, but interrupted. One Tuesday at a time. The same way they were built, brick by brick. Except now you're choosing to set the bricks down instead of stacking them higher. It might be one phone call you actually take, fully, no second screen open while you talk, no half listening while you scroll. It might be telling one person the truth, that you've been present in the wrong places and you want to recalibrate. Not perfectly, just enough to remember what mattered before you knew how to build all this. Balance was never going to arrive on its own as some reward for working hard enough. It has to be chosen on purpose again and again, usually in moments that don't feel urgent at all, which is exactly why they're so easy to keep postponing. Why tomorrow always seems like the more reasonable place to start. You don't have to choose between the life you built and the people who make it worth having, but you might have to choose, deliberately, on purpose, more than once, to let the second thing back in. The money will still be there tomorrow. Some of the people might not be, not because they left dramatically, but because quiet absence has a way of becoming permanent if nobody interrupts it first. If there's a call you've been meaning to make, the kind that doesn't feel urgent, but matters more than the ones that do. Let tonight be the night you make it. Not because you have to fix everything, just because it's still not too late for this one, and that's worth something. You built something real tonight, just by sitting with this, instead of letting it stay vague and quiet in the back of your mind. That counts. Be gentle with yourself. I'll be here. Same voice, same time, whenever you need it.